Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good night, Twitch chat, and welcome back to Let Us Play. I'm your host, Father Evan. It's good to be back with y'all today, and I hope you're having a good day. Good to see you, Mel. Good to see you, Step Zero. And Mel, congratulations. You've claimed the crown of Firstendom. It happened. It finally happened. And for that, I suppose today it is a frozen crown, because we're in the frozen wastes. So maybe they'll be good in Texas, because, it'll help cool you down. Train machine broke. No progress. Come back later. What are you, a McDonald's with an ice cream machine? And guide zone. Oh, thank you. We might need that. Oh, good. The cold doesn't bother you anyway. I see what you did there. Before we go ahead, dive in, I want to give a quick thank you and a shout out to Big C, that's me, and White Rook. Thank you so much for the follows. Welcome to the channel. Hope you have a good time. Yeah, so let's get back into this. Let's play some more. Oh, I just realized this is a European dating system. Is that my fixed habit? It sure is. I haven't taken it to the sacristy yet. I've been too lazy to do that. So, all right, let's go ahead. Let's dive on in. He just wanted to show off good habits. I can neither confirm nor deny. So yeah, last time our seal dog friend led us in a chase against a train. And then the train crashed.
I won't be using the cart anymore.
Then why can I click on it?
Ha ha! Kate Walker! The ivory's ours. You blubbery belly hog! Don't come this way! Can't you see you're too heavy?
This poor train. To remind you, you won't be using the cart anymore. Fair enough. Oh, hello, owl. A cairn. Fish.
I have to melt this ice.
I don't know if you have to. Just lift that top rock. Also, this is really weird to see, because isn't this a thing that natives in West Canada would build? Like, again, we're in Russia. I wonder if I can use the matches. Surely matches will not be enough. No, they are not. Rock cairns being made of easily available material show up in a lot of cultures. Yes, but what I mean is like the particular shaping of it is very reminiscent of some Pacific Northwest peoples.
That dog does exactly as it pleases.
Yes. Why is this news to you, Kate Walker? Hey, Hope. Good to see ya. In Soviet Russia, rock cairns builds you. That has some horrifying implications. Thank you, Kevin. I'm gonna go this way first. Oh, that dog's just gonna be barking the whole time. Kate sounds particularly done today.
Hey, there's some kind of house at the bottom of the falls.
I mean, at this point, your train's been stolen. Your robot butler train driver's been stolen. Your only friend has been stolen. And this dog won't stop barking.
Down, boy! You're scaring the poor beaver.
I'm gonna have to give you a fish to calm you down, aren't I? Because I need the beaver to come back to knock this over to get over to the other side, I bet. Bless you, Kate Walker. I will say this, their landscape painters did a great job. Except what is this game about? Great question. I think this water's flowing the wrong way, because... Unless we're walking downhill, I guess. Loosely, this game is about helping an old man fulfill his dream of seeing living mammoths. This requires us to use his clockwork inventions to help get us across Europe, including his train over here, which is powered entirely by a clock spring. I was about to say it's powered entirely by train, and I realized that makes no sense.
I won't be you.
Yeah, I know you won't be using the cart, but I thought maybe that was something else. Do you want to maybe search the cart for supplies? Are they based on novels? I don't think so. At least I've never heard of a Syberia. I could be entirely wrong, but I don't think they're based on novels, nor do they have a novelization. Okay, and all I have is matches. I can't use my matches.
I have to melt this ice.
Okay, so we can use the matches down here, so we need to get some wood to light underneath this cairn. It's a shame there's no wood in this forest. Disturb the beaver, so I'd anxiously choose on a tree to make the lumber so you can light the care. Unfortunately, I think I need the beaver to create a bridge for me, because beavers are apparently very good engineers.
Such a big forest and so little dry wood.
That's because it's snowing, Kate Walker, and how was I supposed to know that's the one spot I could pick up some wood? Were they hits back in the day? Not really. I think amongst point-and-click adventure fans, they were relatively popular, but, you know, that's a pretty niche audience already. Oh yeah, Timberborn. Give me that fish. Yeah, the third game is really bad. In, like, every respect. I've never played it. But, yeah, they did make Amazon, which is actually coming out with a HD remake soon.
Hey, Yuki, come back here.
Got you a fish.
That dog really needs a leash.
Amazon was particularly successful in France. Okay. Well, here we go. Yeah, I don't know who made part 3. Part 4 is apparently really good, though. I feel like I should actually try and play 3 at some
3:30.
point.
What the hell is he doing out there? Ah, Canton. Where have you been? I've got better things to
Oh
do
yeah,
than
they
wait
sent
for
a
phone
private eye
calls.
after her.
I'm in the boonies, Mr. Marson. But things are looking good. I've got good reason to believe that Kate Walker is right here in this village, or at least in the immediate vicinity.
Find her, Canton. Bring her back. Whatever you have to do, but bring her back here, understand?
Your money's on me, Marson.
Dog doesn't look like a dog. That's because it's not, technically. It's like, it's called a Yuki. And it's like half dog, half seal. Which I guess would kind of look like a polar bear. So, I can go left or I can go right. There's a pathway to the right, but there's piles of wood to the left. And the train's over there, so... Yeah, Yuki, never heard of those. Well, that's, they only exist in this game.
That's too far. No way am I gonna jump that far.
Well, not with that attitude. I mean, to be fair, she's Kate Walker, not Kate Jumper. Is this another monastery? There's crosses. Last time we were at a monastery, it ended very poorly.
Hello?
Kate. Katie Munchkin, it's your mother.
Mother!
It's been a while.
Oh, I've been worried to value, Munchkin. When are you going to stop this gallivanting? You know your boss is looking everywhere for you.
I'm not coming home, Mom.
Katie, this isn't what you set out to do in life. You know that.
Things change, Mom. Things have changed.
Oh, my lord. Katie, have you gone completely mad?
Maybe. I'm not sure.
My God, Kate.
Bye, Mom.
Okay. Sometimes in your life, you do approach a decision or a change in lifestyle that your parents won't immediately approve of, and you have to establish boundaries, and that's good and healthy and part of growth. I think just saying bye, Mom, to when you're in the middle of the Siberian wastes, maybe not quite so healthy. So what if she has a mom? There's this... They did the writing a bit better in one, because it's like your mom calls you every village. And it's like checking in on you. And so is your fiance, and you're like, you know what? I don't need you as a fiance. You're kind of a butt anyway. Petrushka doll? What do you mean I can only take one? Orange salmon. Other names, golden salmon. Latin name, Salmo aracio. S should be capitalized. That's how scientific names work. Anyway, size between 20 and 30 inches long, 5 to 12 pounds in weight. Sea salmon over 3 years can weigh over 20 pounds. Young salmon resemble a trout. The skin is more golden, more slender than the trout. Its mouth is smaller and tail fin is less wide. Its lower jaw is curved. As an adult, it may be distinguished from the common salmon by the bright orange color of its body. Lives in rivers, lakes, very cold waters. Food, carnivore, very selective about its prey. However, it prefers its preferred food remains green frogs. Okay. Rare fish is found in most oxygenated parts of certain Siberian waters. After 1 or 2 years in the river, the young adult gains its estuary, and then the sea, before eventually returning to fresh water. A fortunate salmon might repeat this cycle several times in its life, but faces many predators en route, as it constitutes a not insignificant portion of food to the great brown bear, amongst others. Reproduction from November to January. Character: combative and resistant. Prefers shaded areas downstream of waterfalls. That sounds important. Age limit: 8 years. Consumption: this fish is easy to catch and extremely tasty. It's like my kind of fish. Oh yeah, your mom has like a date with an old opera singer at one point, and it's like an actual plot point that helps you. Salmon do be tasty. It's true. Oh. Is there a fishing minigame? Can I put this on the tier list of fishing minigames? Said it likes green frogs. Well, that's way too small. There you go. Be a garbage disposal. Well, I caught one fish.
Bad dog. Bad Yuki.
You gave it the fish! You very intentionally were like, here you go. You do not get a save. Okay, maybe it's this one I should try. Why don't you catch a fish, give it to the Yuki, let him have a snack on that, and then you can catch another fish. Like, look at that. She is very clearly dropping that right in front of the Yuki.
No. Bad dog. Bad Yuki.
Teach the Yuki to fish and feed it for a lifetime. I don't think this Yuki's cute. I don't think it's going to know how to fish. Also, I feel like I'm missing something in terms of actually completing that puzzle. Like some form of bait. Neat mess, you got the Invisalign. He is one with the environment. Take man's fish and tell him he's lucky to be alive and he'll have another fish for you tomorrow. Okay, Cave Johnson. Glass specimens. Ah, fish tank. Maybe that's what I needed to put the fish in. Yuki can't control self, just a dog. Seal. Thing. Oh, look at that. Now we put down in that one specific spot. Still think this one's the most. Does that just put it away? That does just put it away. Okay. No, no, miss, no. Edward. Making up for Braeheart's absence. Did Braeheart already made the FMA joke? He makes that FMA joke a lot. Yeah, I think it's his favorite joke. Okay, what did I get?
Couldn't wait to get your chops around that boy, huh?
I got a green salmon. I don't need a green salmon. Say what you will about Chow Tucker. No, no. Oh, they're getting worse. You've never seen FMA, but Valendel and Alpha have endeavored to change that in your life. I like it. It's I read the actual manga all the way through. You expected to not cry? That was a mistake. Okay, which of these is most frog-like? Guess maybe this one? Would it help if I went ribbit? Yeah, even if you know it, it's still pretty terrible.
Bet you couldn't wait to get your chops around that boy, huh?
Another green salmon. I think I need some form of bait. Let's check out the other path. I also have a hatchet, so, you know.
Now what? You got cold paws? You don't want to go outside? Look, just get in. Whoa!
Where am I gonna find a green frog? I don't know, but apparently it's fair. Well, I'm gonna need that, I'm gonna need that orange salmon now. Women did overwhelmingly choose the bear. This puzzle is a bit obtuse. Obtuse in a Syberia game. Fight it! I'll get the axe! Yeah. Kate Walker's a lawyer. She's... You know, if she was taking it to court, I think she'd be okay, but... I don't know if she's ever, like, actually used a hatchet. Whoa, 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 fish! Y'all saw that, right? That was a lot of fish. What happens? Basically, the fish got elongated and span. Am I using green salmon as bait now? I don't think so. I feel like it's probably just I have to find what the game declares a green frog lure, but there's a Laura Croft, an archaeologist, doesn't stop her from holding 2 guns. Yeah. But I don't think Kate would be a good lawyer if she just showed up in court with a hatchet. I had the right lure. Well, that's an alluring thought.
Bet you couldn't wait to get...
Okay, let's...
No point doing that.
What do you mean no point doing that? There goes the fish again! There are multiple points you can cast from? So I was gonna say, it's probably... Well, that looks different. You wish fishing were that easy? Isn't it? Is it not? This way you classify as a pixel hunt? I'm sure it is. Because I'm sure that's still not the right fish.
Bet you couldn't wait to get your chops around that, boy.
A blue salmon. These fish, they're splines. Okay, let's look at the Fisherman's Guide again. No. Let's look at the Fisherman's Guide. Right. Prefers shaded areas downstream of waterfalls. So I guess... I mean, everything here feels shaded in some sense, but... Don't go chasing waterfalls. I don't understand why they say don't go chasing waterfalls. They don't go anywhere. They're just right there. Yeah, that looks orange. Depends on what's at the bottom, like sharp rocks. Oh, that would be a bad idea. I guess don't go chasing off waterfalls.
Bet you couldn't wait to get your chops around that.
Orange salmon, is that? Orange salmon, that's what we're looking for. Dear bear, I have a gift. Please leave me alone. Maybe it's upset about this rug.
I'd better close the door with that bear on the prowl.
The door is closed. Beware Roman's bearing gifts.
I'd better close.
Couldn't look this window before. One salmon. Bear is satiated.
He's in Yuki heaven. His favorite meal.
But he's... Feel that a green salmon would have worked too. No. No, knowing this game, especially when they're like, hey, here's the solution in the book. The bear would be like, I don't eat green or blue salmon. Oh, and now there's wolves? No one who's picky when they're starving? I don't know if the bear is starving, though.
I can't reach the branch. If I'm going to get over this chasm, there's only one solution.
I'm sorry, get over this one? This chasm? Girl. Started eating your shrimp scampi meant for tomorrow today, and you burned it? Oh no!
Let's just hope this thing holds.
That's like everything's gone from bad to worse. It's mostly good.
Hey, Yuki, come back here.
Well, okay. Yeet!
Well, I'm definitely going to have difficulty going back on myself now.
What? Just
Hey,
Kate Walker
Yuki
things.
boy, stay.
Bye. Hey, dog, just jump. Dog cast levitate.
Hey, Yuki, leave that bird alone.
Natural 20.
That animal is a force of nature.
I'm gonna have to scale that wall, aren't I?
Hey, Yuki, you naughty pup. How do you expect me to... What? Hey.
How'd they get up there?
You got the pooch Bravo. Now let's get the Yankee Doodle.
Hey, little Yuki, back to the train, quick.
You missed her, you goop. She's still there and the pooch is on the loose. Fling another rock and let's finish it off for good.
She gonna have head hurt bad.
That's the point, Cluckhead. It's our ivory she's after. Your ivory, Igor. Quick! Grab that stone and zing! Go! Go!
What? We helped launch that plane in the last game, trying to get that guy to space. That is a callback and a half. What? I forgot about that.
I can't get to that first foothold. It's much too high up.
Kate has divine protection. What if you use a Russian doll? No. Use a hatchet. Is this going to be an arcade section?
Wow. I never thought I'd do this in my life.
Hatchets are not ice climbing axes. This isn't ice. Kate's just Dilt's different. Just being able to, like, hit a hatchet into a stone wall. Which I'm not really sure why we even needed it in the first place. Except I think we need it up here. I'm so confused. Ah, there's a different way to go. Yeah, but when she's on the stone walls, she very clearly doesn't need a foothold. She's just like, here I am. Also, what looks climbable to me versus what looks climbable to Kate are very different things, it appears. Kate the Spider. Kate the Spider with nowhere left to go. Like, that looks imminently more climbable than this side. So much for Kate Walker. Now she's Kate Climber. You know all those I hardly know her jokes? Turns out whenever you're making one of those, you're talking about Miss Kate Walker. Or like, Kate doesn't follow directions.
Sorry, Martin, the fish got away. She's slippery. Listen, you have to understand, Mr. Martin. She's holding all the cards. And she's in cahoots with some of the locals.
Canton, you've put me in an extremely uncomfortable situation. Kate's family are getting anxious. Trouble is all our middle names if you don't bag the girl.
This ain't no Manhattan turkey shoot, Mr. Martin. The only way forward is on horseback. Across the snow. There's this village, and after that, there's nothing. She's gone off her nut.
Oh, shit.
Language. Well, let's go investigate a plane crash. You've heard good noir dialogue. That was not it. No. The whole the company is sending a detective after her thing kind of doesn't go anywhere. Yeah, it's supposed to be her boss, Mr. Marson of Marson and something Associates. And, like, I get that they want to be able to... Yeah, Boris. We helped launch Boris into space. Oh, there are so many knobs. Okay, I can't seem to interact with that, so we'll leave that for now. Baby Boris made a space separate from his craft? I don't think so.
Wake up! Hey! Wake up!
Boris died? No, he's alive. He's just asleep.
No way of getting through. With those earphones on, he'll never hear me.
Throw a Matryoshka doll at him. What do you mean that's not the solution? There are so many rocks around, Miss Walker. Yeah, but none of them are the perfect rock. Oh, there's the train.
Train is really too far away. Train is really too far away.
I'm not trying to go to the train. I'm trying to just go to the next screen. Maybe that's the cliff I climbed up? I don't even know anymore. Okay, that seems to be the cliff I climbed up. Jerks.
Hans was on the back of that sled. I've got to find a way of getting back to the train quickly if I'm going to catch them.
Train's too far away. Can't go that direction. I'm walking here. I've never said that out on the street, but I've been very tempted to, and also to slap the roof of a car. Okay, so we can tune this to the same frequency as what's in Boris's. Thought it was all zeros in Boris's, but maybe it was all eights. Oh. When you're in New York walking from Central Park back to the Rock, there was white Mercedes pulled into pedestrian crosswalk. Your ex decided to slide across the hood. It's the most New York thing. That's very New York. I don't know what direction Boris is. Do not put your vehicle in the crosswalk. Don't block the box. That is a very important lesson in New York. Oh, look at that. That was a tiny little thing. Okay, let's see what's in direction B. Oh, there's the thing. You ran fast after. That's probably wise. Oh, it is all eights. Or is it? This says 03. Zero 03 XX. In the year 3XX. Mega Man was sent back to protect the Council of Nicaea. Gonna bang the consoles with a Matryoshka doll. Aha! I saw something for a moment. There it is, 0328. That plane is a fidget dream. Do I have it? This is my personal fidget dream. It's one of the fidget cubes. Oh, we got a cutscene.
Boris. Boris, can you receive me? Kate Walker here. Wake up, Boris. Wake up.
Hey, stop looking my... Oh, hey, where am I?
What happened to
Here
your
we go,
Russian
I'm
accent?
Undo your straps.
My straps? Oh, yeah, of course. I'll just tug this thong and... Ah!
I hope you haven't hurt yourself.
Like, Boris was very Russian in the last game. Why is he suddenly just American? I have questions.
Boris!
Ah, Kate Walker. My flying wing is kaput. Totally dinged.
I think that's more than a ding.
Poor Boris. Your flying wing's in a sorry state.
But I've flown among the stars, Kate Walker. Not many men can say so much.
It'll buff out? I don't think
Hans
so.
Vorarlberg has been kidnapped.
What did you say?
2 hoodlums have kidnapped
He doesn't
Hans
know who Hans
Vorarlberg.
is.
I'm chasing after them.
He was in space by the time you
Oh,
found
Monsieur
Hans.
Vorarlberg. I'm sorry to say I don't think I can be of much use.
I understand.
Did you sober up, Boris?
I've got to catch those felons come what may. Hans's health is no great shakes, you understand?
What?
It would be a pleasure to help you, Kate Walker, but I'm not too sure how.
Do you have a gun?
My train is at the bottom of the mountain. I've got no other way of getting down there.
And my flying wings at the Menders. Kind of... landing's always been my weak point.
You're sure that I really can't use your flying wing?
Too damn sure. I knew flying would be irksome, so I flicked the switch and ping. Ejection. Maybe there's a way of using the co-pilot ejector seat. But you're going to have to slip her into manual control mode.
I'm going to find a way to activate the ejector seat.
Okay, I'll stay here, just in case.
This is a terrible idea. You have no way of controlling the ejector seat. Oh. Oh, I see. I get it. I have to enter the coordinates from the radar of the train. Because why wouldn't they make me go back and forth again? Modern ejector seats make you shorter due to spinal compression. That's horrifying. I don't plan on using an ejector seat. I wasn't planning on using one before, and I'm really not intending to use one now. Nope, it's not that quadrant. The geography of this space does not make a lot of sense, if I'm being entirely honest, but, oh well. They beat the alternative. Yeah, they do beat the alternative, but... Oh, you know what? Maybe that was the train all along. Maybe I didn't need the radar dish. So let's push it twice. So it goes to B. B is for train. Hey, Britt. Good to see ya. Thank you for the lurk. Hope the stress gets better. Okay, so where's that pinging? So it's pinging right there on the line. So this goes from 0 to 100, it looks like. So it's what, like 80? So 50, 60, 70, 80? 85 maybe? Or like 83? $83.18 is what I'm gonna say. It's just about articles, everything for the next month. Ooh, too much stress. I believe in you. Rota. Abraham gets a new name. Well, really, Abram gets a new name. And name changes are important in the Bible. Names are important in general in the Bible, but especially name changes. They usually denote some sense.
I didn't think I'd
Lady.
see you.
Good luck.
No, I'm not trying to talk to you, Boris. Sorry. Usually denote that you have been chosen in some way. The people in short time frames. That's valid. You know what? Maybe I should save.
Bang on target, Kate Walker. You'll land right in the dining car. Let me help you with those straps.
I thought I was supposed to land in the dining car, Boris. Does this look like a dining car? No. Also, there's a wolf in the coal tender. How's the Yuki gonna catch up? Magic.
Hello.
Miss Walker, this is Colonel Emeliov. Do you remember? From Romansburg?
Yeah, that happened
Colonel
yesterday.
Emeliov. Why, sure. How did you get my number?
No matter. Miss Walker, I'm calling you because a gentleman came to see me. An American detective.
That is rough, Brett.
He asked me a lot of questions about you, about the train, and your friend, Mr. Vorarlberg. Naturally, I told him nothing, but...
Colonel, you have to slow this man down any way you can.
We are in Russia. It is winter, and when snow sets in, time starts moving very slowly. It'll be a miracle if this man ever finds you, Miss Walker.
Thank you, Colonel. All these controls. Nothing works without the key. This train's useless without it. All these...
Trains need keys? Well, sure. Doesn't your car need keys? And yeah, it is a clockwork train, I guess, so it does have a key, but that's built into the stations usually. Trains are not cars. Not the train, but what about the factory? We left the factory in France. It's fine. Your options we've been given are for the league that's longer planes. We left a factory in France?
That's odd. Looks like some sort of panel.
These things happen.
That's odd.
Well, hello. So this is giving us information on where we can decouple things. So this looks like... So I'm trying to bash everything with the nesting doll. Well, then why did they give it to me? So this looks like where the panel is underneath the mammoth statue. Oh, they wrecked Hans's stuff. Wait, I saw the hand. I saw the pickup item. Is that a blood puddle? It might be. I mean, they did kind of abscond with the train and kidnap Hans. They are objectively ne'er-do-wells. No, don't pick up the screwdriver or the wrench. We're not going to need tools.
That's odd.
Yeah, I know it's odd that
That's-
it looks like some sort of panel. I want you to... Miss Kate Walker. Hey, GameX. We are currently fighting Miss Kate Walker to do things. Also, there's a wolf hiding in our coal tender. Oh, hello. Is this Oscar? Oh, you silly goose. Hiding in the snow.
Oscar, are you all right? It's me, Kate. Kate Walker.
Greetings, ma'am.
Pull yourself together. We've got to find Hans on the
Hans? Hans Vorarlberg?
Yes, Oscar. Hans.
Oh, no.
Let's make tracks. We've got maybe one chance left to catch those bandits.
I don't think my utility
do.
levels are very high right now, Kate Walker.
But there must be some way of making you right.
I don't know. I really don't know.
Oscar, you can't have an existential crisis now. The train is still there. You can still drive it. It's the one thing you're made to do.
I saw Hans stretched out on a sled being pulled by a snowbite. Ivan and Igor kidnapped him.
I am sorry I was unable to assist, Kate Walker. I attempted to interject, but the fat brute applied a punch to me, and I found myself in the snow.
You did all you could. Now we've got to do what we can to catch them. We absolutely must catch those two creeps.
I would gladly help you, Kate Walker, but I fear I am less than functioning.
Maybe if you didn't break into their home and steal their gasoline? Well, first of all, you're not wrong. Kate Walker is a thief.
You feeling a little better, Oscar?
Not really. I'm frozen, Kate Walker.
Yeah, I bet. But you'll warm up. Don't you worry.
The cold has paralyzed my wheel work, Kate Walker.
I hope that the collapse of the bridge hasn't damaged the locomotive too badly.
I fear the worst, Kate Walker.
I'll be back here right away.
You would gladly drive a train tomorrow
I'll be
for a
waiting
hamburger
for you,
today?
Kate Walker.
I don't know. I think I'd rather just eat the hamburger myself.
Let's see.
You can pay tomorrow for a hamburger
Now
today.
that
Thanks
is
to
a
DoorDash and
relief.
Klarna.
Thank you,
Thanks, I
Kate
hate
Walker.
it.
Now, if you will kindly take your place in the passenger car, I can carry on.
Oscar, the passenger car has been derailed.
Oscar?
Kate Walker, you are making us lose precious time.
It is a very cool
Do you have
train.
frozen articulations?
No.
Then climb back in the train as quickly as possible. We have to catch those roads.
All right, Oscar. This isn't going to end well. Is that the Yuki in the coal tender? It is, but I also saw... I thought I saw a wolf climb in the coal tender. Huh. Look. Look, Oscar. We're not going anywhere. Weird.
Oscar, what's going on?
We cannot continue our journey, Kate Walker. The passenger car is stuck.
Try telling
That's
you
what happens when amateurs manhandle my engine.
And
What are we going
bridges
to do?
break.
There's an uncoupling system on the car. I'm going to open the access panel on the locomotive. Call me when you find it. Once the panel is open, you will just have to activate the mechanism to unhitch the car.
So we're going to leave this car and everything in it behind us?
This is a sacrifice we must make, Kate Walker. Regrettable, I know.
Okay, I'm off then. Wait for me before you set off again, okay?
I will never leave without you, Kate Walker.
Well, except for that time that you did. I mean, Oscar is deeply utilitarian, to be fair.
There's no way I can get to the mechanism without somehow keeping this panel open.
I thought Oscar was going to open it. Let's call him. Remember when phones looked like this?
Kate Walker?
Oscar, I'm in position.
Very well, Kate Walker. I will trigger the mechanism to open the panel. And you must activate the mechanism to unhitch the car. Agreed?
Roger that, Oscar.
Okay, let's take a look at these blueprints again. You yearn for when you did not have a constant advertisement in your pocket. That's valid. Why does Oscar sound more like a human Dalek? I mean, he is an automaton. All I have to do is activate the decoupling mechanism. Why is the decoupling mechanism a puzzle? Hans, why did you design this? Okay. So that opens the middle 3. That opens 1 and 4. That opens 1 and 3. That opens 3 and 5. Oh, that is cursed, Mel. That is cursed. We have enough money to stop being crazy and start being eccentric. Well, he did start out that way. I mean, the Vorarlberg family is supposedly very wealthy. From their automaton toys. Okay. So looking at this, we can logically deduce that we can't use both 1 and 4, because if we do that, then this is down and there's nothing else to raise it. So I think it's probably going to be just like that. Logical deduction. Terrible dab. My microphone's in the way.
I'm in the middle of nowhere, Martin. There's this bridge that's collapsed. I'm gonna try finding another way and...
Wow, he made it to the bridge.
Can you still hear me? My phone. Nearly out of juice.
No. Is it really Kate Walker we're chasing here, sir?
You're pissing me off, John. What are you trying to say?
Kate Walker, the lawyer. The one with the brilliant career prospects. That Kate Walker's dead. We're chasing some other kid. Someone we don't know anymore.
I've got the family on my back every day, John. Kate Walker's got to come home.
You, the viewer, have been
did
committing
that
identity
Yuki get
fraud.
to?
Oh dear. Not again. Yuki. Please get back here. This giant mammoth statue is scaring me.
Yes, Oscar?
Kate Walker, have you heard that plaintive howling? Be on your guard. There is surely some wild beast stalking the land.
I heard it, but it didn't sound much like an animal to me.
All the same, I'd rather stay here and watch the train, if you don't mind.
No
Shocked,
problem,
Oscar.
I understand.
I don't know why you couldn't tell me that before I just hopped off the train.
That's those dreadful brothers' snowbike. Waste of time, it's too slippery. No point doing that.
Hush.
No point doing...
Hush, you whistling monster. Okay. We have hushed it. Hello?
Hey, hi there. Whoa.
That's the appropriate response.
Easy, cowboy. Igor, anyone there? Where's Hans?
Hans? Little old guy? Oh, I don't know.
What do you mean you don't know? You kidnapped him.
We left him on the snowbike. Me and Ivan. We went up a hill.
You
Then I
abandoned
came
him?
down. Old man was gone. Vanished.
But that's impossible. He was very weak.
It was like I say, lady. It's the truth.
What's gotten into you, Igor? Have you lost the plot?
No, we all have.
I don't know. I'm cold. And I'm hungry. And there are spirits.
Spirits, you say?
Hey, come on. Calm down, Igor. You know, that noise, it's just the wind.
Breath of death. Wind of devil.
No, just the wind. I think you'll find blowing through the totem making a weird noise.
Pity. Pity poor Igor's soul. Igor don't want to die here.
There's no more spirits.
Hey, why are you still here,
solved it.
Igor?
Evil spirits holding me. They're very angry. They want to keep me.
But all the evil spirits have gone, Igor. Huh? Yeah, I told them to skedaddle.
No, no. The spirits are screaming.
No, they're not.
Listen for yourself. They've all gone.
No. Hey, but I can't hear them.
Like I said, look, maybe you should skedaddle here too while you can.
Thank you, Miss Lady. Thank you. Time for Igor to go far away. I'm cold. I'm hungry. I go home.
I called
But
him
where are you
hungry.
going?
I'm
Bye,
father.
lady.
Igor thinks he's in Final Fantasy VII near the Christ of the planet. And abandoning his brother. And must away! Take care, Step-Zero. Walking out into the wastes. This seems like a good idea. Whatever. I don't know how we got back here, but...
Oscar, what's going on?
I don't understand, Kate Walker. The tracks lead us into a direct collision with this hill. I found myself obliged to activate the emergency brakes.
Unapply
No chance
them.
you shunted the switching by mistake?
Are you insinuating a logic gate error on my part, Kate Walker?
Absolutely not. You look to be in fine working order to me.
Then I reiterate, Kate Walker, we are on the correct route.
Oscar, I made your feet. I'm gonna need them back to serve as hiking boots, I think. I'm just saying.
We must find Hans.
We are at the end of the line. It would seem that our voyage is at its end, Kate Walker.
Then we'll continue on foot.
I fear my articulations would not survive the ordeal, Kate Walker.
Igor's gone.
I know. I saw him from my hiding place. Oh, let's just hope he doesn't come back.
Brave
Don't
as
worry
ever,
about
Oscar.
it, Oscar. He's probably a long way away already. I've looked all over the place, Oscar. Hans can only be in one place. Up there, on the hilltop.
Well then, Kate Walker, off you go.
Okay, I'm going. I was just trying to keep you informed. But Oscar, can't we get just a bit closer?
What? And drive ourselves into that hill? I'm afraid not, Kate Walker. I refuse.
I love the design of the cockpit, by the way. The shape of the glass is very Art Nouveau, but everything else has a much more heavy industrial feel. And the overall lines are very Art Nouveau, Art Deco.
The Yuki must
Love
have
it.
smelled something. Did you see how quickly he left?
And good riddance. Moreover, large animal companions are forbidden on this train, Kate Walker.
Anything
bad.
you say, Oscar. I'm off now, Oscar.
I shall await your return, Kate Walker.
Kate Walker, Russian Ranger. Oh, man. Oh, hello. You left something behind. Ooh, shoe spikes.
These should get me up the hill.
That's a lot of bones. Sneaky owl hanging a boot. The owl is secretly the camera. You're a terrible person.
Back! Back!
It's like a mammoth ossuary. Not mammoth size, but like of mammoth. So the Matryoshka doll, you know.
Stay where you are!
It's
Make
okay,
me.
it's okay. I'll stay right here.
Something
I said
cracked.
back! Don't make me get nasty, girl.
You already are.
I told you to stay put. Stay where you are.
It's okay, it's okay. I'll stay right here.
None of that
Whoa,
with me,
whoa,
you little
whoa,
whore.
Whoa, whoa. Language, language. My dude.
Gah.
That is not appropriate.
None of that with me, you little whore.
I did my best.
I told you to stay put.
Kate Walker will punch you. See, I get that something cracked.
So here she is,
Under his
Kate
foot.
Walker. Brave Kate. Walker.
Yeah, why is he English
What have you done with
if
Hans?
he's supposed
Where
to be
is
Russian?
he?
The old crazy's disappeared. The vanishing gnome trick.
Really? With your brother Igor, I suppose?
I have my own believer? Yeah.
Blundering fool. So he let you pass. Dumbass abandoned his guard duty then.
Your brother has decided he was better off without you. He has abandoned you, Ivan.
What? He's gone? Nah. If he has, then good riddance. The tub of lard only ever tied me down anyway.
Yeah, I can censor all sorts of things, you know, so that I can say things like on stream. It's fun handling a soundboard.
Ah, the French.
I almost never use these two. But I think my personal favorite. I walk into this. Yes, you do, kid. Good to see ya.
None of that with me, you little whore.
So tell me, where is Hans Vorarlberg?
I told
Just
you.
a second. I did my best.
Don't know. And what's more, I don't care. Perhaps. Perhaps he was eaten by a bear. What's it to me?
You're a disgusting creature. Why are you doing this?
White gold, sweet lips. Mammoth ivory. This old crazy was obliging enough to show me the way. And now riches and glory are all mine.
Listen, Ivan, the ivory doesn't interest me. All I want is to find Hans. Let me go.
No way, my little rosy bud. You'd shoot me in the back first chance you get.
And do you want to tell me why you're sitting around here?
Your hobbit friend says the legendary Yukol village is someplace round here. So you see my lovely cherry pop? I sit, I watch, and I wait.
But Hans is in danger.
Do I look like I care? I told you to stay put.
Hey, watch it!
Okay, I think we're now out of conversation with him.
I told you to stay put.
Hold on, I'm just gonna call my robot friend.
Oscar, I've got Ivan here right in front of me. And he ain't looking very friendly. You've got to come and help me, please, Oscar.
I fear that I hardly constitute a force of dissuasion, Kate Walker.
I don't care, Oscar. Use your head.
I have to guard the train, Kate Walker.
Oscar, get up here now.
Up there? Oh, but there's all this snow, Kate Walker. As you know, it is most distressing for my wheel work.
Oscar, this man is ready to crack my skull open, so I'm asking you to come and help me, or you'll be scooping my brains up with your metal fingers.
I will see what I can do, Kate Walker.
Well, do quick, Oscar.
Thank you for obliging me to make that phone call.
What the hell is that? Anyone tries anything funny, and the consequences will be very messy.
Wait.
What does this imbecile want? Walker, you take one more step, and I'm gonna...
I don't have to push him. I don't have a sharp object. There we go. There's the knife.
Ah! Nice try, Street Walker. But this time you've gone too far. Your journey stops here.
Streetwalker? What? Well,
Our
that
detective
backfired.
is on her
The
trail,
end.
Mrs. Walker. You'll see your daughter again in just a few days.
You've been telling me that for weeks, Marston.
Mrs. Walker.
Come on, out with it. You've no idea where she is. Oh, Kate, my little baby, vanished. Maybe something's happened to her.
Mrs. Walker, please.
What gave you the twisted idea to send an innocent girl into the Siberian wasteland?
It wasn't me who...
Marston, I hold you personally responsible for the disappearance of my daughter. You hear me? You'll be hearing from me.
Mrs. Walker, listen to me.
I have heard enough, Marston.
I should be concerned. The owls are seen as harbingers of death and psychopomps in Yukon culture, I think. Well, I think we found the village. Hello?
Hello.
Kunukmak, tuk-tut.
Me? Kate Walker.
Toot to you too.
Ice wall, fall. Oh, boy. Where... Are we in Syberia?
This is Yukol village. Kate Walker fall very hard on soft head.
Is this a continue or did we character die? I think we made it. It depends on how you interpret it. I think there's room to actually interpret that Kate Walker is dead, but I prefer to look at it in the more positive way of like, we actually found the Yukol village we were looking for. I just know her head is soft because he's been taking care of, I don't know. He's been tending to the bump on her head.
You haven't seen my friend, have you? He's small, very old.
I take care Kate Walker. I not help her friend.
I'm looking for Hans Vorarlberg. Where has he got to?
Hans is here.
Where's here? Where?
Hans stay away. Him maybe voyage over.
What do you mean by that?
Hans is very sick.
Psychopomp in
Where is he?
circumstance, I like that.
With spirit woman. He prepared final leaving.
No, I have to. Please, can I see him?
Oi oi, I not disturb spirit woman. Too strange.
Well, she doesn't scare me. Where is this spirit woman?
Listen drums, Kate Walker.
Say, Chief, you wouldn't have rescued anyone else, would you?
No,
Are
just
you assuming
Kate
he's the
Walker.
chief? It's a little,
Well, I wonder what happened to old Ivan Burgoff.
Oh, eaten by spirits, Kate Walker. Aye, aye, aye.
My
okay,
train
well,
is
he got
stuck.
his comeuppance.
Could you help me?
Yes.
Yuko's up there already.
Oh, thank you very much, Chief. So this is the Yukol village?
You fall on head. You call heel head. Me, great chief.
Okay, so he is actually the chief, but I feel like first he said
Thanks
it.
a lot. Farewell, great chief. I'm going to find my friends.
You are Yukol guest, Kate Walker.
Do you get a lot of those? Little Yukol child. Okay, that's pretty cool. A water-driven automated drum system. Which also appears to be a barrier to getting up to whatever's going on there. Who wouldn't walk for cake? I would not walk for cake. I would run for cake. These steampunk authors will make up anything. Well, as long as there's gears on it. You don't like cake too much? Oh, well. More cake for me. I mean, I like pie too, don't get me wrong, but cake, like a double chocolate cake? Oh. And it turns out in this house, we have a lot of birthdays in Lent. And I gave up desserts for Lent. As, well, not the only thing I gave up for Lent, but it was part of it. And it's like, oh, all the fancy desserts are coming out. Chocolate flan cake. Oh, yes. Strawberry rhubarb. Like I said, I enjoy a good pie, don't get me wrong. Well, I wasn't expecting that to loop back like that. Flan is a custard. I've had a really... The sisters just make really good flan in general, but they also make a really good variation where it's actually like a chocolate cake with a flan on top. Yeah, like what Hope is describing, like a burger. I've also seen some, though, where it's just like the custard is chocolate flavored. Okay, I'm down for that. See, Mel's in. I have a feeling I'm going to be opening these giant doors at some point. I have a feeling that's the arc that we read about. Ah, yes. The train tracks of the pre-industrial civilizations that we know so well. Hans, have you already been here? As I said, these steampunk authors will make up anything. I mean, isn't that just writing fiction in general? You make things up? Love this, spinal cord ladder. Nope, nope, nope.
This thing's... Nope.
Okay, so the left one's stuck. Right one just makes this rotate, but it does look like it can be lifted up. And we know the train's got to come in. I mean, it's Chekhov's train at this point. Where's Hans? Follow the drums. I'll go anywhere else. Oh, hey, here's their refrigerator. See? All the mammoths are frozen in here. Oh, hello, little lemming thing. I'm probably gonna need you to help me get some berries out. Morgue. Yeah, there's a little bit of that. So if I put the water in there, it's just gonna flow down and out of that. I can only place it in these top two, so I guess... The doll! Nope. This is not where we use the doll. There's one of these back in the village as well. Okay, let's try the other side. That was the freezer. This is the fridge, right? No, I think this one's the freezer. The first one was the fridge. It had the berries. Okay, another one of those things. A torch holder is what it looks like. Look for freezer burn, right. Actually, I'm gonna keep going this way, because there was another way off the platform over the train that we could take. I think all the pieces are there, but I think the writing could be a bit tighter in this game. But the fact is that this game is a metaphor for dying, like, and paralleling it with finding your life's purpose in some ways, but mostly about dying because that's what Hans is doing. We're going through the process with him. Ah, that is a chain.
Hi there.
Kunukmak, tuktut.
My name is Kate Walker.
You're so
and
American,
you are?
Kate.
Nanuk metal, tuktut na.
Nanook Tuk Toot?
Nanuk metal, tuktut na.
Huh? I hope it isn't me you're scared of.
Bek nanuk metal, bek, tuk tuk na.
Ah, Took Toot. Yeah, I'll remember that one.
Fool of a tuk-tuk.
It's just a train. A metal train. Yes, like Oscar.
Bek metal.
Yeah, that's it. Toot Toot. It is not dangerous.
Speaking English slower will not make them understand better. Exactly.
You are
that's
too kind.
Kate's Americanism coming out. Oscar, I'm gonna hitch up the train. Oh, I can't take that out. Thought maybe they'd be concerned about the spirits. You also need to speak louder. Yeah.
It's much too heavy. I'm gonna need some help to pull it to the train.
Loud and slow. That's how I learn math the best. Wait, how do you do math loudly? As X approaches infinity is infinity.
Hi, Oscar.
Kate Walker! But where have you been? I confess, somewhat worried by your absence.
But I'm here now, Oscar. I'm starting to worry, Oscar.
You still haven't found Mr. Forelberg.
I fear the worst.
No, we have found him.
Even so, he is unlikely to have strayed far given his condition, Kate Walker.
For sure. But where?
No, we know where, Kate. You just haven't gone there.
Haven't you noticed, Oscar? The hillside is hollow, and the tracks lead right inside of it.
Yes. It is indeed a strange situation. The hill trembles, then a gate opens, and some of the local inhabitants exit. They even came right up to the train carrying a cable. I spoke to them most correctly, but they ran away. Varum! I really don't see why.
You've got to get us up and running and continue down the track.
Impossible, Kate Walker. The engine springs need winding. I fear that we can advance no further, unless you expect to find a winding mechanism around here. I must say, I find it somewhat strange that Mr. Forelberg had not foreseen that eventuality.
Maybe he did.
As a reminder,
I'm off.
I shall...
we go to this book all about the Yukol. This Yukol religious mask represents the soul messenger who guides the dying to the other world. You know, kind of like how Oscar has been guiding Hans to this endpoint. And notice what he might look like. I think that's a really cool detail and is actually really well written. Coincidence! Coincidence? I think not. Okay, so we know where the train is. We know where Hans is. I feel like we have a lot of the pieces, but I feel like there's going to be quite a few puzzles between A and Q. Because we still have this Matryoshka doll. Oh, look! A Yuki pen! Well, I guess I'll take some fish scraps. While we're here, let's fill up the flask. Okay, I think I have the whole area mapped out in my head. Except for maybe what's over this way. Okay, no, I did know it's this way. I think I've been here before. Okay, there's a rhythm. Although, I'm just looking at this right now. There's an owl on this peg.
Strange bird, this Harfang.
So maybe the goal of the other places isn't a torch, but to place some food so you can lure a Harfang over there. Maybe Kate doesn't have any rhythm. You know what they call people without rhythm? Parents. Oh, I thought I was looking in the jug. A cork. How did these people from Syberia get cork? Isn't cork from Australia? It's a shame we can't go to any of these upper levels. So we have a fishbone, a leather strap, a doll, a cork, and a flask of water. You know, the other place where we were putting the water, we needed something to plug up the hole. Actually, do I know it's this way? Just really quickly. Piles of resources, but nothing I can use and no one I can talk to. I'm gonna make a save before doing this, because just going back and forth to get the water over and over again if I don't get it right is just frustrating. Or, oh no, don't tell me I do have to go back just to... I think I have to go back to fill it up again so that the water will then flow here and then down out of this with the berries. That's frustrating. We're going to save that for next time because it's time to wrap up and I don't have time to go back and forth. But we have a save to start off right from there, so that'll be good. So thank you so much for tuning in to Let Us Play. I've been your host, Father Evan. It's been good to be with y'all today. I hope you have a great rest of your day and a great weekend. Join us again on Monday for more Super Mario RPG. Tuesday, for Spirituality Tuesday, we're doing a bonus Minecraft stream, but with a twist, so it should be fun. And then regular midweek Minecraft on Wednesday, and no stream on Thursday. It's Holy Thursday. Gonna be a little busy, and also just kind of enjoying the prayer of the day. So join us again for all of that. Should be a fun time. And yeah, thank you to everyone who's liked, followed, subscribed, given bits, all that good jazz. Checked out the YouTube, checked out the Discord. And why don't we see who's live that we can raid into? Gonna send Jen over to Illumi Lab. She's a fun streamer. Wait, actually, nope. She's wrapping up herself. Yeah, it looks like everyone's wrapping up. So, no raid today. So, Rev? I don't follow Rev, so I don't have his channel at the ready, I'm afraid. Zisaru? I don't know who that is, actually. I'll have to check them both out at some point, though. But yeah, I think we'll just sign off. And so, hope you have a great rest of your day. Take care, and God bless.